afternoon, everyone. It's great to be here. As you can see, I belong to the John Deere company. I work there. And so before I get into farming and how technology has dearly helped us do a lot more for our farmers, I want to ask you, or maybe I'll start off by asking you one thing. Did you guys see on the news last week, there's apparently an onion crisis in India? Now, India is a top exporter of onions globally, but between droughts and monsoon that happened more recently, there's a shortage, a scarcity of onions. Now, Indians are understandably, in the country, are understandably upset about this because onions are a staple ingredient in most of our dishes. So the government had to react. They proclaimed that not a single onion will leave the country. Now, this has the neighboring countries all ticked off because they also depend on Indian onions. So that led me to thinking, some of these neighbors have nuclear arms. Is world peace hinging on an onion? I hope not. It gets dicey, right? Okay, I'm exaggerating. But what I'm not exaggerating is the fact that 82 million people get added to the world's population every single year. Now think about the role of the farmer in supporting and feeding this growing population. At John Deere, farmers are the center of our universe. We have a healthy obsession with everything they do. I know this lovely audience may not share my obsession, but I know that there's corn up there. I saw mud. I'm thinking, we're getting close. This is getting to be mainstream. This is awesome. So in our world, so since you guys don't share that obsession, I'm going to share a few basic information about farming just to level set the crowd, okay? So first and foremost, a typical North American John Deere farmer farms 5,000 acres of land. And he does 4 steps throughout the year to get through his operations. One is farmers prepare and till the land. They plant the seeds. They apply fertilizers, herbicides to actually nurture and protect the plant. And lastly, when the crop matures, they harvest the crop. Now, they do have a partner in all of this. And she is a very volatile lady. She's Mother Nature. And between the large expanses of land and the unpredictable weather, farmers have a really small window to get each of those 4 steps exactly right. Now, John Deere, we've traditionally tried to solve this problem for farmers by building equipment that are really bigger, faster, stronger, and we've essentially put out factories on wheels. If you've seen our equipment, it's pretty impressive. But we also understand that there's constraints to that. So our company, our breakthrough moment as a company, came as a response to multiple constraints. One being size. There's a limit to how big our equipments can get before we test the boundaries of physics and hit diminishing returns for our customers. With size also comes weight, which essentially produces soil compaction, and that affects yield and productivity. Another constraint is farmers' margins. They're under a lot of pressure, right? Because their bottom line, which is necessarily made of the cost of the inputs, whether that be seeds, fertilizers, herbicides, those costs are going up every year tied to inflation. Their top line, which is the price that they get for the grains harvested, are volatile based on global supply economics. There's also trade agreements that are always in the news. Things of that nature are constantly creating a volatile environment on the top line. So between the bottom line increasing and the top line fluctuating, the margins are definitely getting squeezed. Another challenge for farmers today is getting workers to work on their fields. Rural workers are constantly migrating from rural communities into the cities. And so finding labor is a real problem. Now, so now we have this perfect storm of constraints. But there's also a silver lining in the story, and that's the advanced technologies that are happening in parallel. Things like robotics, sensors, computation, big data. There's so many things that are, technologies that are evolving at such a rapid pace. It's providing us an opportunity here. So we think we have, as a company, leveraging these technologies, we can make the transformation from bigger, faster, stronger equipment to equipment that is smarter, easier, and more precise. And that was the breakthrough moment, understanding that technology here has given us an opportunity. Now, thinking about technology and how do we actually realize that vision of smarter, easier, more precise, we intentionally set about to build capabilities to be able to deliver those elements. So let's talk about precision. In our world, precision is about actuating our equipment so that each machine can manage at a plant level. I'll give you an example. So we are creating this technology called See and Spray, where we put cameras on our sprayers, and the equipment through those cameras can distinguish between a weed and a crop, and selectively apply herbicide just to the weeds. Think about how great that is for the farmers. It actually has a step function improvement for their profitability, and they're also sustainable because they're being good stewards of the land by using efficient use of herbicides, essentially. So that's one aspect of it. And in this story, the cameras also are making our equipment smarter, right? As you all know, we are in the universe of Internet of Things. And in the ag landscape, the only difference is that our things are a lot bigger, right? We're talking tractors. So IoT in our world, the T stands for a tractor or a 20-ton combine. Just reframing the story, right? And so understanding that we have to reimagine our equipment to be this giant sensor, that was another transformational moment for us. So we set about enabling connectivity in all of our equipment. So today, our equipments globally transmit 12 million sensor measurements every single second. So at 8 bytes per measurement, we ingest 100 megabytes of data per second. I mean, that type of scale of data is kind of mind-blowing. But just to give you guys an analogous view on that, let's look at another platform, like Twitter. Like, they use a lot of data. There's lots of tweets happening everywhere. We see this. So if you think about that, 6,000 tweets per second is what they report out publicly. And let's be generous, give them 280 bytes per tweet. So that's 1 byte per character. Let's be generous. They still, in that scale, is ingesting only 2 megabytes of data per second. So we are operating at a scale that's 50 times the scale of Twitter. I don't know if you guys knew this. So we are a data company in a sense, right, at this stage. And so what that leads to is there's a flip side to that story, and that's the customer side. If we present all of this information, we will also overwhelm our customers. Our farmers didn't sign up to be data miners, right? They just want to see the value. And so that's where our suite of digital products come into play. So we have a web and mobile suite of tools that can take all of that data, glean insights, and really provide value to our farmer. Tell them what to plant, where to plant, what machine configurations to use in their farm, what optimal machine paths to use as they farm, as they plant their various seeds. And so manage their logistics, manage their crew. So there's plenty of opportunity for us to mine that data and deliver insights. And also, on the other end of it, through mobile and web devices, we're also giving them the freedom of mobility. So the farmer can essentially manage 5,000 acres of land from the palm of their hand or the comfort of their home with the click of a mouse or a swipe of a finger. We are focused on making our farmers' lives easier. So in conclusion, I'll just say, farmers today are facing unprecedented challenges with global population growth, with climate trends, with resource constraints. But they're also facing unprecedented opportunity with technology. We, as John Deere, are committed to providing and helping our farmers do a lot more with a lot less. As a 180-year-old company, atoms have been central to our success, but I believe our future success will be unlocked through bits and pixels. Thank you.